Okay, so it's sort of a fun, I always use that word fun a lot. Any case, we are now introducing a new crystal into our line of crystals. This is for the Seiko 6309, my brain, the Seiko 7002 first generation divers. 7002, 7000, 7002, 7001, 7002, 7009, 7002, 7000A, and 7002, 7000J. They use a 32 millimeter crystal. Now, it used to be that you could get these crystals relatively easily because these weren't produced that long ago. I mean, the 90s weren't that long ago, were they? Anyway, but then we noticed in last year, especially the last fall, that it started getting really, really hard to find them. Parts houses weren't stocking them. Seiko wasn't supplying them. And at a certain point, it took my main supplier, how long? Months? 2 months?
Months, like 3 to 5 months.
It was crazy, and then they finally got some in, and then we ordered more, and they couldn't get them. And then we started looking around for other suppliers, and the other suppliers kept sending us crystals that they didn't tell us were subs, and they were wrong. They had the wrong profile. They didn't have the right bevel, and we're like. And then Sabrina said
that we should get the 7002 crystals made.
And I was like, okay, that's great. And I put it on the back burner. And then, because she deals with people talking to her about crystals.
People kept asking me for them, and I kept not being able to supply them. And like he said, the different part suppliers would send us subs. So they sent us a 320W23HN01, which we sell if anybody buys crystals from us. So
they sent us crystals we already had.
Yes, which was kind of annoying. And so we decided to get the 7002 crystals made. And they came in on Saturday.
And they're perfect.
So this is 320W23HN01.
And there they are. And like all of our products, again, our products are made for us, only for us, by GS Crystals in Rochester, New York, and they're produced in Switzerland. And they are perfect recreations in every way. If it's polished, it's polished. If it's frosted, it's frosted.
Let's see if I can get it in the camera.
Well, I'm going to show them on the bench.
Well, I'm showing them now.
Yeah, you can see the side their wall is polished, but the bevel is frosted, but the bevel is polished. And that's what they were supposed to be at. But we find that with these crystals that are made only for us, they have not only do they put up with pressure testing and all that other kind of stuff, but their clarity is excellent. Beautiful clarity. And these 7002s, especially like this, that are in this kind of condition, they're getting hard to find because so many of them were modded. And there's such great movements. So anyway, I'm pretty excited. We got them in and they work. So we've got the first 2 of these crystals were put into watches. There they are. Both these watches belong to one customer. And gosh, it's just great.
Yes, it's very exciting.
So what's the next step?
You talking about them on your workbench.
Oh, okay. We do have the listing is already live on the website. So if you go to kleinvintagewatchrepair.com, crystals for sale, you will see the listing there for
320W23HN01.
Yeah, 320W23HN01. And they are there. They're ready to go. These crystals, because they have different kinds of finishing, especially they have more polishing than the 6309 crystals, they actually cost us more to produce. But the quality is fantastic.
And also we'll have a link to the website at the end of the video.
That's true. Okay, well, so we're going to break. I'm going to make a video where I actually show the different crystals and I show them in the watches. And you can see how they look and I can blather on about that. And
that's it for me. I have to go make sure kids don't kill each other.
Okay, she's going to go make sure the kids don't commit homicide. Kidicide. Okay, talk to you in a bit. Okay, so here is the watch in question. This is a 7002, 7009 from, of course I should have gotten the date off my head here. It's from 1992, November 1992. It's entirely original, complete with its original lume and everything. The obviously the new crystal in here, and this is what they look like. There's a teeny tiny little bevel to the date window. The lume on these dials is Promethium 3, and they tend to turn a gray are sometimes sort of a brownish tan, and very rarely a light tan, like this, like that one there. So that's what those look like. And like we said in the video, I'm amazed. It was getting so incredibly hard to find crystals for these. And right at the time when a lot more people are picking these up, in part because of their extremely well-deserved reputation for just durability and accuracy. These have great movements in them. Very, very accurate. These 7002s were the first mainline dive watch after the Suwa plant closed and production moved to Hong Kong. So of course, people think of Seiko dive watches, and there's a whole range of them, but they have like this. This is an unrestored 6105. So there's a 6105 8110 with its asymmetric case, the great classic Suwa design. And then this got discontinued and supplemented in 1976 with the 6306 7000X series. This is the JDM 6306 diver, kanji English day wheel, 21 jewel movement. Would you come out? We want to see that thing. And it doesn't have an asymmetric case, but it's a big wide cushion case. Now in the early mid-ish 1980s, Seiko introduced the slim case 6309s and also simultaneously the 7548s, which use the same exact case as the slim case 6309. And it was this case style that was moved in and continued and picked for the incoming 7002 divers. And so, but the systems that they used for these crystals were entirely different. This is the old, I guess we can look at the cases. So this is Suwa 6000 series. This is later Dani. So the Suwa cases, here is an empty Suwa case for a 7548 or a 6309. They're all exactly the same, so it doesn't really matter. The way these work is they have an L-shaped crystal gasket, and it sits in here, and then it uses a crystal retaining ring, which is a snap-on diddly, and that goes, and you put your crystal in, and you go, and you put that in there, and kunk, and that holds it down. Now, the problem with that is that if you do a bunch of different crystal changes, eventually the ridges on the case are going to wear away, and you're going to start having the crystals start to come up. They won't seat. So, when they went to this, they used the new system, which is using a flat nylon crystal ring that sits in here. So you can see sort of the difference. This has the ridge to snap that thing down. But it has a flat nylon gasket that goes in here around the outside, and the crystal forces in, and it just holds there. This is a very common system that many watch manufacturers use. It's absolutely functional, and it's much simpler to produce, and it's quite dependable. So that is what they went to. So the old system, that's gone. Less machining, fewer parts. They're using this, and they kept that system all the way up. They use it now for damn near everything. I don't think Seiko uses L gaskets on anything anymore. I could be wrong, but they used it especially for like this. This is the SKX. They preserved them all the way through. Let's see now. What am I looking for? It's interesting about the SKX is when they decided to replace the 7002s, the way the progression went is they had the early 7002s, like this, which was a 32 millimeter crystal, and had the old style click ball, bidirectional, all that other kind of stuff. And then they went in 1994 to the transitional. Instead of being 150 meter resist, it's a 200 meter resist. The crystal is 31.5 milliliters versus 32, and instead of having the standard old click ball, it actually has unidirectional rotating with a flat spring, so it only goes one way, and it's a neat system, and it uses this. And then they went to the SKX series, which is the next one. And what was cool about the SKX, actually, it's one of the things I like, is they actually resurrected the old dial design from the Seiko quartzes. That's where that came from. It's one of the reasons why these look so good. I mean, because this is such a great design, such a beautiful dial design. And they resurrected for the SKXs. Such fantastic watches. And, of course, the Diver 200 meter. So anyway, these new crystals, they're not for the transitionals or later. Those are a different size. So there they are. So the difference in the casing meant that they had a difference in how the crystals had to be made. So we have in the 6309 series, you can see on this bevel, see how it's frosted right there? When they went, it was just, there was no reason for that. I mean, maybe it was saving some pennies for production because it didn't have to be polished. Here's the 6309 crystal. This is the flat crystal, and you can see the side and the top bevel are polished, and it's almost a perfectly corner flat transition. There's a tiny bevel there, but next to nothing. Versus this is the 7002 crystal. This is the 320W23HN01. Now, because this is being forced into a nylon ring, they did a few things differently. They have a much larger bevel on the bottom to give it so it'll slip into the nylon ring rather than catching on a corner. And the top bevel is not polished. Is polished. So the only part that's left unpolished is this edge right here, and that is, I'm assuming, to grip the nylon gasket a little bit better. But as you can see, the clarity is just beautiful, beautiful clarity. I mean, that's an original crystal in there, and that's pretty nice, pretty clear. But the real deal, I mean, these new ones, they just look fantastic, even when they have dust on them. Anyway, we are very, very proud of these new crystals, and we're very much looking forward to never running out of them ever again, so that we'll always have these done, because these 7002 watches they're cool, and they have an undeserved place where people don't love them as much as they should, and they're solid and dependable and great daily wearers, and the movements are bomb-proof. And once serviced, they run brilliantly. They're a great vintage diver. Very cool. Okay, well, thank you so much, and we'll talk to you later.